address somewhat of it, is the stranglehold that the unions have on our state assembly. Our current governor has been unable to pass any meaningful changes to our state, and after the unions had spent $100 million to fight those propositions, then he gave up. So how would you be able to change this if that proposition for the unions does not pass? How are you going to get around the control the unions have over all of our elected representatives so you can pass the laws that we need to get passed and for California to become successful again?
I'll do the same thing that Ronald Reagan did to the air traffic controllers.
He stole my answer. I don't know, let's ask Steve what he thinks. I'm sorry. I have no alternative motive. I am going to stand up to the unions and tell them to take a hike, just like Reagan did. And we will also stand up to special interests. We are not going to support them. Right now, our taxpayer dollars are being wasted by the union, by the litigation that is perpetrated by the unions. It can't go on. We can't keep paying for unconstitutional legislation.
Concerns is keeping the elections honest. What I'd like to know is if you favor picture IDs in order to vote at the polling place, because right now, at least in San Diego County, they are not allowed to ask you for a picture ID, and you can go in and vote under the name of 15 million people, whoever has a history of not voting. You just say you're them.
I definitely support picture IDs, and that would eliminate all those illegals from voting.
Ditto.
Hi, my name is Ruth Morrison. Larry, I'd just like to know if you differ in any way about what Ken said about education, because I didn't hear what you said about education.
No, I don't differ pretty much at all. I think we found that out in Petaluma with Ken on education. I believe, you know, we can use vouchers. We have to increase competition for our public schools. I think we have to be careful though. We can't just take everyone out of schools and go into you know, homeschooling or charter schools or whatever. We have to fix our public schools too. And that was one of the things that I did with my son's school. We want to put it down to the local level, and we want to encourage involvement from our local communities to go in there, and if they see something that isn't right, they can go in and fix it with the local school boards. And, you know, that was the one thing. When I went into that classroom, I was allowed to speak. First they wanted me to speak for 20 minutes. And when I started talking, they allowed me to speak for 2 hours. And the teachers told me they've never seen the students stay quiet for so long and listen for so long. Well, that's because someone was finally teaching them the truth. I think the other thing we have to do is make sure we don't allow our schools to be used to indoctrinate our youth into fundamentals of our country. And I grew up in Massachusetts. I went to Bunker Hill. I went to Fort Ticonderoga. I stood on the USS Constitution. I went to Lexington and Concord. So I know that teaching our students the real history of our country and what our brave men fought for is essential.
I just want to know your opinions of having illegal aliens in our healthcare systems and the emergency rooms of our hospitals.
I just want to say one thing. I will answer that. I want to say one thing about the education issue. I really believe it's about decentralization. We need to get it back into the hands of the school boards, and that's the key. But we need to get it into the hands of the parents, and whatever gives parents the right to choose the schools is really the most important thing for me with education. So getting it into your hands and school choice through vouchers is very, very important, because we will not be able to fix our public schools immediately. It'll take some time. You need a choice, and we need to help you pay for that. When it comes to healthcare, I believe that we will eliminate illegals from the welfare system. We will not have welfare and Medi-Cal for illegal aliens. But emergency room treatment is something that we need. We've been a country of compassion, and we need to have compassion for whoever shows up in that emergency room. But we need to stop that border, that porous border. We need to send the people back when it comes to illegal immigration. 20,000 of the 27,000 prisoners, overcrowded. There's 27,000 prisoners in our prison system that is overcrowded by 27,000. 20,000 of them are illegals. We need to fingerprint them, photograph them, deport them, and never let them back.
The other issue on the Medicare payments to the illegals in our emergency rooms, obviously they need to get treatment if they're dying or something's there. Well, we know who they are at that point. Once they come in for medical service, we know who they are, where they came from. The other thing I would like to try and propose is we start charging back the foreign countries for the cost that it is costing us. Why should we pick up? You know, this is like this issue of free health care. There's no such thing as free health care. You know, I have good insurance, but I still have to pay 20%. When I have an issue with myself or my family or my son, I still have to pay something for my health care, including our insurance premiums. So, you know, this notion of free health care is who's going to pay for it. So we need to look at it and make sure that the people have to deal with their own medical issues. I would be willing to bet that everybody in this audience has had one type of medical issue or another at some time in their life, and they've had to pay for it. So, you know, the government can only do so much. Eventually, it's the taxpayers that's paying for it. If it's the government, that's the taxpayers.